welcome to another fantastic Faena Rose conversation. Tonight we're going to be discussing a topic that's important to everyone, and that's how to live a healthier and longer life. We're going to be talking about the science of longevity. Dr. Barzilai, why don't you give us a little snippet about what we're going to be talking about tonight, a little preview.
So, aging has a biology, right? We know who's old and who's young. What people didn't realize until recently, that this biology is what causes disease. And what we know to do in our big revolution is we want to spend time on our health rather than spend time on our disease. And we'll figure out how we're going to do that.
Fantastic. So as we like to say, strap in and get ready for another fantastic Faena Rose event.
In your view, what's possible in terms of lifespan?
Maximal human lifespan as a species is 115 years. So that's kind of our limit, but we die on average before the age of 80. Actually, average age of death is decreasing in the United States now. What's true for everyone is to maximize or optimize four things. Right? Your exercise, your diet, your sleep, and your social connectivity. What do I mean by maximize it? If you're doing 7,000 steps, maybe you can do 10,000 steps, right? If you're kind of dieting and it doesn't go well, consider a time-restricted diet, consider low carbohydrate. There's always things that you could do that also will be better for you, because we don't have a good answer of what's the best of everything, because the best of everything depends on individual and their environment. There's a biological age and a chronological age. But what you have to understand is that this biology is what drives age-related diseases. You can be born with genes for Alzheimer's, but when you're born, you don't have cognitive problem. When you're 1 year or 10 years or 50 years, you don't have that. You have the biology of aging that brings this disease out. We're trying to target this biology of aging before you have a disease. And we try to slow your aging so that you don't get this disease. How do we determine what's your biological age? There's lots of things out there. For example, I measured my biological age by 10 different methods. And I'm anywhere between 20 years younger than my age to 4 years older than my age. And I'm not saying that each one of those tests is not revealing something, but it's not really enough. Not only that, we have kind of methods when we can determine your biological age, we can determine the average lifespan that you still have, okay, statistically. I want to tell you the coolest thing that I'm doing. We measured 5,000 different proteins in the blood of 1,000 people. And when doing that, we can know, we have an instrument, of course, with artificial intelligence and everything. We have an instrument that we can take your blood and basically tell you your biological age, and will be quite accurate. Not only can establish your whole age, but we can establish the age of each one of 22 organs. Okay, we can tell you your brain age. We can tell you your liver age. Now, generally, if you're a slow ager, okay, most of your organs will be slow agers. But we find out that there are people who are slow agers, but their liver is aging really quickly. So is the liver leading your aging? Can we discover something? Can you stop drinking, or do you have cancer or something like that? The same with brain age. So I think what we're going to do to have in the future, we're going to have a blood test where we could tell you your biological age and also which organs should we watch. And that will mean also what treatment is going to be better for you as we prevent your aging.
What's tried and true in terms of nutrition and what we know about what we consume and how that ladders up to our health span?
I talked about the importance of having a clinical study where you take an intervention and you do it. You take a group and some are doing that and some are doing something else or having placebo. This really does not exist in the nutritional field. Okay, so you can have people who are trying diet. So I'll give myself as an example. Since before COVID, I started doing time restricted diet. When I started my aging research, 3 decades ago, the experiment that was always going in my lab, I would take mice or rats, a group of them, and half of them would eat whatever they want, and the other half got 60% of that. We called it caloric restriction. In those groups, and in, again, any animal in the world, when they were caloric restricted, they lived healthier and they lived like 40% longer. Really huge effect. When we went out, aging wasn't popular, but when people wrote about what you could do about aging, they wrote, so you should have less for breakfast, less for lunch, less for dinner. But that's not what we did in the lab. In the lab, we brought the food in the morning, and those animals were hungry, and they ate all the food for the day in 20 minutes. And then they were fasting for 23 hours. So it wasn't only caloric restriction, it was also fasting. When we started giving them a little food throughout the day, they were still thin, but they didn't live much longer. Okay, so this fasting period is something that really upregulates your ability to deal with aging.